Hi, in this video we will talk about how to read CSV files. CSV files are comma separated value files, so the data is stored in a text format but separated by commas. So there would be different scenarios when you read the CSV files. So let's start with the first scenario. The first scenario is that you have a CSV file already available to you on your computer. For example, in my case, I have a file called mycsvfile.csv in a location d\temp on my computer. Notice that I've given double backslashes. That's the way you have to define your full path. There's also another way of defining your path, and that is by giving the forward slashes. In the forward slash, you just give a single slash. You can just follow one of the syntax. So I'm using this. And to import the data, you don't need any package because this is available in the base package. So the command is, there are various ways to do that. So let's talk about a few commands and then you can stick to one which is most useful for you. So the first one is read.table. So we are telling the computer that we want to read a table and the location of that file is my file, which is this. And then the header equals true. That means we want to see the headers in the first row, and the separator of each value would be a comma. So if I run this, we can see that we have 3 columns and 4 rows. And the first one, this is the actual header name or the name of each column. And if I didn't give this header equals true, if I made it false, you would see what happens. The header name has actually become the row 1. So instead of the 4 rows, we have now got 5 rows. And because R couldn't find any names for that, so it has given the name like V1, V2, V3, etc. So in most cases, you would need this to be true so that you can get the data in a more meaningful way so that the name is actually defined in each column. So that's one way of getting the data. And the other option is to actually use read.csv. So this is a special version of that. So you don't really have to give a separator in that case. You don't even have to give header in that case. All you do is read.csv my file. And let's see what happens. We got the data. So the data is already has the column names defined and everything is imported. There's another way of reading the data, which is there's a read.csv2 as well. In that case, the separator, if I run it, you would see what happens. So I'm using read.csv. You would see that the data looks quite different because it has gone to one single column. So the default in this case is not a separator equals comma. The default in this is actually a semicolon. So if you had a file which just had a semicolon, you could have used this command by default. But if I wanted to use this, I can still use this one and tell it that my separator is a comma, not a semicolon. So and you will still get the proper result. So no matter what command you use, you still end up with the similar information in your data set. There's also another package called Reader, and that also provides similar functionality. And if you wanted to use that, you could use that as well. And using the reader package, you would have to call it first, and then you're saying that read underscore CSV. See the difference? This is read underscore CSV. In the base package, you're using read.csv. So this also does the same thing. So you have the data coming up in the same thing. So no matter what you use, you stick to one. I normally prefer to use this command read.csv, and I specifically tell it, and I just for the sake of referencing, I'll put header equals true, separator equals column, though it's by default true as well. So that's one way of doing it. Now the second scenario would be, remember this one is when you had the file on your computer sitting on your hard drive or on your desktop. What if I wanted to read it from the web? You can also do that. So I can just simply define my file from a website. So this is a file which is sitting on a web location, and this is the name of the file. So the same thing, if I do that, I get the data in there. So it's actually done the same thing. It has got the data from the website. So that's more or less what you need to do to import the CSV file. Just stick to one particular option, and my preferred way is to do it using the read.csv. I have got this data imported from the website, is sitting in your data frame. What if you actually wanted to store it on your hard drive as well? Yes, you can do that. So the same thing, I would define a path. So basically the path is my folder where I want to save my file. And then I would do a write.csv. So instead of read, I'm going to say write.csv. And I'm saying my data is coming from the data frame df, and the file is I'm pasting the file full location. So my path is this, and my file name would be my file. Let's call it 2, and separator equals. So this is a separator for the paste function. I don't want to have any separator in the paste. And if and row names equals false, that tells that there would not be any row names. Otherwise, um, when the data is saved, you would have a row name also. So in this case, I don't want a row name, so I just want to save the data as is. So let me run this command, both the commands together. So running this, I've actually created a file called my CSV file 2.csv. So let me read it back just to prove that we have actually um, done that. So using the CSV read command, this time I'll say my file is, so I'll give this as my file name. So it's coming from my D drive /temp and then my CSV file.2.csv, the file which we just created it up here. And if I read it, I have got the data back from my computer. So this is how you use the CSV import and export. I hope you found this information useful. So this is how you use importing and exporting of CSV functionality in R. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.